The ANC says it has no policy of land expropriation without compensation, and the Constitutional Court will hear arguments on the Etoll case on August 15. I'm Richard Brooks. The ANC says it has no policy of land expropriation without compensation. The comments follow an uproar within some communities after the ANC Youth League yesterday warned of possible land invasions if the slow pace of land reform continues. The League has already called for land expropriation without compensation. ANC Secretary-General Gwede Mantashe says this kind of thinking is not viable and that the Youth League will have the opportunity to present its stance on the matter during this month's policy conference.
We have been repeating it over and over. It is not the policy of the ANC to expropriate land without compensation. And we don't think it will work in the long term in any way. But if the Youth League has that view, it will go to the policy conference and be engaged, look into the advantage and disadvantage of such a policy.
The Constitutional Court will hear arguments on the Etoll case on August 15. That's according to the opposition to Urban Tolling Alliance, Outer. Outer chairperson Wayne Duvenage says the court has indicated that it will sit on that date to hear the government's application for leave to appeal. On April 28, 2 days before the e-tolls were to be implemented, the High Court in Pretoria handed down an order preventing SANRAL from collecting the tolls. Last month, Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan applied to the Constitutional Court for leave to appeal against this court order. Gordhan argued that Judge Bill Prinsloo had ignored the principle of separation of powers. The Treatment Action Campaign says HIV-positive people have been deprived of their right to health care due to the shortage of ARV drugs in the country. It says the health department has to improve its service delivery to sick people if it's to restore the public's faith in the country's health system. Stocks of the life-saving drugs are reported to have been almost depleted in many provinces in the past few months. TAC chairperson Nonkosi Khumalo.
Government has to work a bit differently for people to continue accessing public health care the way that they do, or even at a better scale. We're talking about the implementation of the NHI at the moment. Until we get the systems right and the right people in the right positions, we are just setting ourselves up for failure. But it is up to each and every individual living with HIV or not to ensure that we hold our public servants, hold them accountable. We ensure that people don't go back home without their drugs, or they're sent back every second week to come back and get their drugs.
South Africa will have a big team at the Olympic Games in London despite their much publicised budgetary constraints. 112 athletes have been included in Team South Africa, with more expected to be added, particularly from athletics. Janet Witten has more.
Besides the three teams from hockey and soccer, swimmers form the biggest squad and will probably bring home the most medals. Some unexpected sports were included, such as archery, badminton, judo, shooting, sailing and weightlifting. In total, 16 sporting codes are represented. Only 5 track and field athletes were named, as some are still hoping to book their places in European competition over the next fortnight.